What's up guys, JaretCampisi here. Today we're back at the track for another installment. I've been getting a lot of questions about 300-meter hurdle practices, and so today I'm going to take you through some drills, a typical technique day for the 300-meter hurdles, and explain to you how to get better at them and what kind of things you're going to need to be focusing on in order to run faster times. So without further ado, let's get started. So for today's workout, what we're going to be doing is, it's a technique day, okay, which is separate from an actual training workout. And so what this is, just to give you an idea, when I was at Penn State, what we would do is Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, we'd have running workouts, sometimes with hurdles, sometimes without. And then on Tuesday, Thursday, they would be technique-oriented days where it's not supposed to be like getting you in shape, it's supposed to teach you how to do your event better. So that's what this is. This is a typical technique workout day for the 300-meter hurdles, okay? So the first thing we're going to start with is a warm-up. If you don't know how to warm up correctly, I have a video on that. I'll put it in the comments below, so be sure to click on that link and check that out. And after you're warmed up, what we're going to do first is we're going to do some stepovers. And so basically, there's a whole separate drill section. I made a video on that. All we're doing today is we're using these as a warm-up, because what we really want to do is the next drill that we're going to do is going to be the important part of this workout, along with the third drill. So all we're going to do is just some step ups, and it just looks like this. Step overs. Sorry. And we're going to switch sides. Couple things to note here. When we're doing these, we want to keep our body nice and upright. We want our foot always dorsiflexed when we're going over the hurdles, and using our arms as well, just back and forth, or you can do it hurdle style if you want to do that, it's fine too. So I would go through just a couple of times on each one of those. Like I said, this is just warming us up. This isn't really part of the workout for today. After the step over, sideways step over, we're going to do forward step overs. One time we're going to leave them close together like this so we can go every single one, and you'll see what I mean right now. So we're stepping all the way over the next hurdle, just like that, and we'll do a couple of those. This is really just to get our hip flexors and our hip girdle and all that kind of stuff warmed up for hurdling. And then one last thing we're going to do is just spread these out just a little bit. Maybe like a foot length or 6 inches. And that'll allow us to actually step all the way down off the hurdle. So left leg first and right leg. Anything with intermediate hurdles, 300-meter hurdles, 400-meter hurdles, I start my athletes immediately using both of their legs, because there's gonna come a time when you're racing that you're gonna come up on your opposite leg, or you're gonna be towards the end of the race and you're gonna stutter. You're gonna come up on your opposite leg, and that's a lot of times when people go down and fall. And a lot of times when people are having their best races, that's when they'll hit opposite legs. So from the get-go, I make all my athletes train on both legs. So that's what we're gonna do. All right, so that's enough for the step overs. Just a couple on each one, no more than 3. And then we're gonna do the next drill, which is called 5 steps. Okay, so those first couple of things we were doing for today's workout, we're really just warming up the body, like I said. This is one of the first drills that we're gonna actually start to do some work. So what this is called is 5-step drill. It's one of my favorite drills. I learned this drill in college. Basically what you do is you take the hurdles, put them on their normal 110 marks. So whatever they happen to be on your track, on our track, they're blue. For purposes of this video, and maybe if you've never done these before, start out with them at intermediate height. So that's the actual height of the hurdles that we're going to be doing in the 300 hurdles. as you get better, and if you're a high hurdler and an intermediate hurdler, you could probably bump these up to high school high, and I'm not sure I would go any higher than high school high. So anyway, today we're gonna keep on my intermediate height. What's up?
Which is
3 notches up. You should know that, 36 inches if you're an intermediate hurdler. And we just have 3 of them set up. You can do 3 or 4 hurdles. Earlier in the year, you can do more hurdles. Later in the year, I'd start backing it down to 3 or 2, or yeah, one or 2. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna do lead leg, trail leg, and over the top, both legs, okay? So we're always training both legs. And instead of taking 3 steps in the middle of the hurdles like you would in a race, we're gonna do 5 steps. So what that allows us to do is slow it down a little bit and focus on perfect form over the hurdle, okay? And so that means bent levers, driving up with a bent lever, and then it's okay if you kick it out a little bit over the hurdle, but then driving it down quickly behind the hurdle, and then same thing here, bent lever with our trail leg, bringing it up nice and high and tight into our armpit, and then down like that, okay? So I'll show you what the drill looks like. So things to keep in mind when you're doing this, you can't be going too fast because we're taking 5 steps. So if you run too fast, you're gonna come up too early and then you're gonna alternate, and that's not what we're gonna do. We wanna do one leg the whole time, so lead leg, trail leg, over the top, and then we go back and do our opposite leg, lead leg, trail leg, over the top. So next up is trail leg. So I'd say no more than 2 to 3 on each different side. So 2 over your lead leg, 2 over your trail, 2 over the top, and then obviously your opposite leg as well. I'm not going to show you opposite leg because I haven't used mine for about 10 years probably at this point. So after that, you should feel good and warmed up. And then what we're going to do is put the hurdles on the actual 300-meter hurdle marks. I'd say 3, possibly 4, depending on where you're at in your year and your training and stuff like that. And this is where the real workout starts. And what we're trying to focus on this drill is coming up on the hurdles smoothly, okay? And this is where you figure out your step pattern and all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna set them up and we'll go into more into detail in a second. Okay, so what we did is we set up 2 hurdles. Normally you'd probably want to set up 3, at least 3, unless you're getting close to competition, then 2 would be fine, even over the first one, sometimes what I would do the day before a meet. So what we're going to do now is basically you're running at race pace or just a tiny bit below race pace, and so that way you can start working on your steps between the hurdles. And so what I'm talking about is that's the first hurdle right down there. And then that's the second hurdle right there. And so the space between those 2 hurdles, you should have a step pattern for those hurdles. So for me, at my height and the speed that I was running at, I was about 15 steps, I believe, in the 300-meter hurdles. And I think I was pretty much 15 all the way around the track. And so all you're gonna be doing in this drill is starting from the actual starting line. Use blocks if you have them, if not, it's fine. Running to the first hurdle, trying to hit that hurdle nice and smooth. That's what this is all about. The hurdle races, the intermediate hurdles, 300 and 400 meter hurdles. The trick and the secret to those races is coming up on those hurdles and just taking it directly in stride, okay? That's why you want to figure out your step pattern so you know exactly what step you come up. You don't have to count them when you're racing, but somebody should film you and count your steps so that you know. And what we'll do is I'll run one of these and then we'll show it back in slow motion, and I'll show you exactly how you count the steps and all that kind of thing. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Once you get your step pattern down and you're hitting the hurdles consistently and fluidly, it gives you such a huge advantage over the people who are stuttering and constantly wasting energy and slowing down and speeding up and all that kind of thing. So that's really what the difference is between a good hurdler and a great hurdler. And so I'll show you what this drill looks like, and I'll see you in 1 second. So since I wasn't really warmed up or running as fast as I should have been, I just looked back at the film. I was about 17 steps, or I was 17 steps. And so the thing is with steps, odd numbers, you'll come up on the same leg. So if you go over a hurdle with your left leg and you run 15 steps, 17 steps, 19 steps, 21 steps, the next hurdle you'll hit will also be on that same leg, which is really nice. Okay, so what happens is when you get around towards the end and you switch to 18 or 20 or 22, that's where you'll come up on your opposite leg. So it's just good to know that kind of stuff. And for purposes of this drill, what you would want to do is, I'd say 3 hurdles, maybe 4. If you're having issues with the finish, you can put them on the finish line or the finish part of the race and start over there. If you're having issues with the turn, you could do more on the turn. And what you would want to do is give yourself full recovery on these, since we're running close to race pace. So you'd want at least 5 to 7 minutes. If you want to turn it more into a workout kind of style, then you lower your rest a little bit. So that's pretty much it for today and for this workout. Just in general, guys, that's something I just remembered as I was going over the hurdle. The key to the 300 and the 400 meter hurdles is getting over the hurdles as smoothly as possible with as little effort and energy as possible. It's not about perfect form. It's not about, you know, driving your lead leg down and snapping everything around and all that kind of stuff and being, yes, you want to be over as quickly as possible, but you also just want to be fluid and smooth. So that's what it's all about. If you guys want to see more about 300 meter hurdles, 400 meter hurdles, drills, all that kind of stuff, this is really just a tip of the iceberg. So I could talk all day about this kind of stuff, but I want to keep these videos kind of short for you guys. So if you like this video or you have questions, comments, leave them in the comment section below. Share the video, give us a thumbs up, and yeah, hope you guys enjoyed 300 meter hurdles, Track Nation. Catch you guys in the next one.
It's crazy sometimes thinking you can own a piece of the world. It's just floating through